Joe with Black Box Silver and Bronze, and today I'm going to show you what I got in this box. Let's check it out. Hey, comic addicts. That box is one of my monthly mail calls from my comic shop. So if you've watched me before, you know I buy some comics from my comic shop. I'm subscribing to a couple of new comics, Daredevil and Usagi Yojimbo. And then I throw all the comics that I'm looking for into my shopping cart. And then I wait. They have weekly sales and you can put a code word in and get like 10% off, 5%, 10%. So I'll just throw them in the cart and then I'll wait. And each week I'll put the code word in and I'll scroll down and see if any of them happen to be on sale. And then sometimes I'll purchase them. And then I'll just click the button that says piggyback on my subscription. And then they ship it all at once a month. So I got boxes of different sizes depending upon how wild I go for the month. So I got a nice stack of comic books to share with you. Some very eclectic stuff. It's from modern to golden. And there's promo comics and superhero comics, all kinds of stuff. So the first one I'm going to show you is this one. This is called The Old Fort Niagara. And I like history and I like reading about history and real life stories in comics. So this was a 35-cent comic from 1954 that tells the history of Fort Niagara, which was up on the mouth of the Niagara River on the New York side, right across from Canada. So it's a really neat little historical comic book. The back cover has a map. Here's Niagara Falls down here. And this is the Niagara River, okay, from, what's that, Lake Ontario, right? And here's Fort Niagara right here. So this is the New York side, and this is the Canada side. And then each page has a piece of artwork, a full page piece of artwork, some pretty neat artwork in here, along with a narrative telling some of the history of what you see in the scene. And the centerfold is a nice spread of a bird's eye view of Fort Niagara. So it's a real neat little historical comic book. I never heard of it before, but I stumbled upon it. And so I grabbed myself a copy of that. And then the next thing, I just took a chance on this. I had no idea what this was. It was $2. And I said, I'm going to take a chance on that. If I saw that like in a dollar bin, I would definitely pick it up. And so this is Tailspin Tommy. And look how cool that is. So that looks really cool. And this is a 1989 reprint of a reprint from 1932 of the Tailspin Tommy daily strips. And so you go through the book and it's got fantastic art. I mean, you look at each of these panels and the backgrounds, there's no wasted space. It's not just, you know, the characters with nothing in the background. Whatever artists were doing this were like really fantastic. And so this on the back cover has this nice picture here. And up here it says, this economical reprint of the 1932 Couples in Leon one-shot finally revisits the area of solo flight. And so the 1932 Couples in Leon one-shot is listed as rare in the Overstreet price guide. Never heard of it, but there's some great art in here, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. It's something I haven't seen before, and it's really cool. Now, this is a issue of Corto Maltese, The Ballad of the Salt Sea. This is issue number 5. And I have been trying to put this run together, and it's been a slow crawl. I found issue 1 here in Hawaii probably about 6 or 7 years ago. The Friends of the Library had this huge book sale every summer in June. and they have a comic book section. And I found Corto Maltese Ballad of the Salt Sea issue 1 in there, and I loved it. And so I've been trying to scrape this together. And this isn't a common comic book. They're not particularly expensive. They're just hard to find. And so this is a great story. It's around World War I, and Corto Maltese gets stranded on an uncharted island with 2 children. And also there's a band of pirates there. And so he's a soldier of fortune, and he's trying to protect the children. And this is it's been translated. This was an Italian comic strip in 1967. And this is the English translation. And the art is great. It's like that Tailspin Tommy, and just a great story. And so I'm eagerly trying to get, I think there's 8 issues about, and I'm eagerly trying to get them all. Maybe I'm halfway there. Maybe I need 3 more, but I was really happy to find that one. And then here's a modern comic I just picked up from the DC New 52, Wonder Woman number 36. And I grabbed this. It's the Lego variant cover. And I like the covers where the characters are busting through the newsprint like that. But I also have been picking up the Lego covers because my kids are grown now, but when they were younger, one of the games we used to play together, which I have fond memories of, are those Lego games where it's like a co-op, and there's 2 characters, and one of them has to pull the lever so the other one could go through. So I have fond memories of time with my children. So I'm grabbing these Lego covers when I see them. And then I found this. This is called Red Skull Incarnate. I didn't see this when it was coming out, but it's a 5-issue series, which basically shows kind of like how the Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, came to be. And he's a child in this. He's like an orphan. And, he's around Nazis and, is exposed to, the evil. And it kind of shows like, the twisted fate that, made him turn into the Red Skull. So I have 4 out of the 5 issues. They got great covers. They really kind of look like war propaganda posters almost to me. And so I found 4 of the 5 issues, and I'm just trying to find the 5th issue now, and then I'll read that. But that looks really good. I'm really interested in reading that. I grabbed an issue of Fantastic Four, number 359, because it has that trope of looking through the legs at the characters in the story. So I grabbed that one. And this is Hulk Smash Avengers. It was a limited series, 5 issues. I never knew about this or read this, but I grabbed this issue because I really liked the cover material of Hulk and Iron Man going at it. All right, this one, Avengers number 49. So I got this for 2 reasons. One, it's got a cool cover. It's got a cool can cover. I think that's really cool. I like the colors. I like what's happening, and the starry background. It's really great. But the other reason I got this was because this is a silent issue. So I don't know if you're familiar with silent issues, but there's the most famous one. I think there's a G.I. Joe silent issue, which can go for some big dollars. But there's some issues where the artists tell a story and nobody speaks in it. This is one of them. And so I read this, and I was a little bit disappointed. The cover is great, so I'm happy about that. I love purple. Purple's my favorite color. But I was a little bit disappointed with the silent story, because the first silent story I ever found out about was just a couple of years ago. I pulled Batman number 67 off the shelf, and that was the only thing in there were sound effects, like water plop plop, or if Batman landed on metal, twang or something like that. It was really good. And that's when I found out about these silent issues. So I started searching up, are there other silent issues? I found out about the G.I. Joe one. And then there's another one, Orion number 5. That's great. That is a great silent issue. There's this amazing battle and some great splash pages in it. Those two, Batman 67 and Orion 5, were great. So I'm like, oh, here's another one. I'm going to check this out. Didn't really think it hit the mark, but nevertheless, cool cover. And then I grabbed this Red Sonja number 1. Just recently found out about this series from Scott, the Classic Comic Collectors channel. He was doing a video on Red Sonja, and he either showed this or talked about that. And I said, oh, that's a really cool cover. So I grabbed that one. And then this was a comic I have been looking for quite a while. And I was just trying to find it in the boxes at a shop in the back issue bins. And it's an issue of the Nam. And every time I go to comic stores, they have runs of the Nam, and this issue is never in there. This is issue number 23, and it's just a cool kind of USO Christmas cover. And I really wanted to get this one, and I was hoping I would just find it, because every time I go, there's like a full short box of Nam. I go through, they have like so many issues. This one's never in there. So I just spit the bullet. One showed up, and I snagged it off my comic shop for a couple of bucks. All right, these next comics. When I was growing up in New Jersey, we had an ice cream store. This store, if you were from the Northeast or Florida, you probably heard of this. If you're from somewhere else, maybe not. But it was called Carvel Ice Cream. And there was this businessman, Tom Carvel. He was really, I think he came from Greece, and his original last name was Carvelos, Karvelos, if I'm not mistaken. But he created this ice cream store, Carvel, Carvel Ice Cream. And they would have commercials airing, and he was in the commercials. He would speak, I'm Tom Carvel, buy my ice cream.
Carvel, America's freshest ice cream.
And they'd, it was like soft serve ice cream. They would freeze it and make ice cream cakes. And it was really funny because he had these molds to make ice cream cakes. And there's one called Fudgy the Whale, but he just, the molds were reused for everything. He turned the mold sideways and it was Santa Claus. He'd have one that was a Christmas tree, or a menorah, or like a pumpkin. It was really funny how he was a good businessman. And so there was a store in my town. I'm going to put a picture here. This is not the one from my town, but it looked just like this. And there were actually two of them, one on each side of the town. And one was right by my house. Like you could go up the corner 2 blocks, take a left, go another block, and there it was. And that was there when I was growing up. And for my birthday, we used to always have ice cream cakes because I didn't like regular cake. So we usually get ice cream cake from Carvel's. And then when I came back from college, it was gone. It was a 7-Eleven. But I found that there's some Carvel comics. And so here's Tom Carvel right there. And this was a promo comic from Carvel. And on the back, it's got this dated picture of, you know, them, that girl providing the soft serve and the different products that you could get from there. And there were a couple of issues, I guess, you know, for 4 or 5 years. Here's another one. This is Adventures of Captain Carvel. I don't have the dates on these, but that first one I think was 73 or 75. It said it right on it, 1973. So this was after that, a couple of years after that. So I thought that was cool. This, just recently, there was the sci-fi covers, and I started looking at sci-fi, and I found out about this one called Escape to the Stars. And it's a black and white indie comic from the 80s. And so this is issue number 4, and it just looked interesting. It was only like $1.80, something like that. So I'm going to grab it and take a look, read it, see if it's any good, because I'm a big sci-fi fan. And then another one I stumbled upon, I don't know anything about this. It's called Shock Therapy, and this is issue number 5. But I thought that cover was really cool. It reminds me kind of like Jack the Ripper. And it's called Murders Near the Rue Morgues, Throat Clutching Climax. And so there was an ongoing story about these murders near the Rue Morgue. Kind of reminds me of like Jack the Ripper. It almost sounds a little bit like Edgar Allan Poe type horror. And I thought that was a really cool cover. So I grabbed this one, read it. If I like it, I can get the earlier issues, see if I want to read that whole story. The other covers aren't as good. But if I don't like it, at least I'll have one with a cool cover. All right, this is one of those promo comics. I like my promo comics. And this is the Woodland Adventures of Sue the Magic Mannequin. And it's really, I just keep finding promo comics that I know nothing about, I never heard of before, but they're cool. I love the promo comics. And, you know, they're usually newsprint all throughout, including the front and back cover. And they're usually giveaways. And a lot of times, because they were giveaways, they're just not lasting in good condition. But this is an interesting one. This is from 1957. And this is to promote, I think that's pronounced Sassany. And it was a clothing line for children. And so it was like this one was basically promoting a back to school clothing line, similar to what she's wearing, for young girls, like to go to school. And they looked almost like school uniforms. They weren't school uniforms, but they kind of looked like it in the pictures in here. And near the last page, there's a mannequin that you can cut out, and there's all the back to school clothing lines that you could cut out, and you could dress up the doll and everything. So I thought that was really cool. Never heard of it. Okay, here's a Golden Age comic I grabbed. And sometimes when I'm on my comic shop and they have new comic listings, I'll go through there. And every so often, there's just some comics that are like so cheap. I'm like, all right, I got to get that. So this is one of them. So several of these Golden Age comics are not ones that I was looking for, but they were like $5 or less. And so I grabbed them. And because like $5 for a Golden Age comic, it's like, how could you not? So this is Airace number 12, volume 2, number 12. This is from November of 1945. I think I paid about $4 or $5 for this. And it's really a cool cover. The colors are really great, but it's kind of sooty. I cleaned off some of it, but I think I've got to get some of those, like, I think they're face pads that Jerry the Jitterbug uses. I got to watch his show again and see what those are. Or if you watch this, Jerry, just write it in the comments. But it's like a face cleaning pad that you use, because it's kind of like a sooty cover that I just need to clean it up and it'll pop. Like I already used an eraser up here, and you could see like the yellow is a little brighter here than over here. And down here, it's like really, really dirty. I don't know what's going on, but once I get that cleaned up, the colors will really pop on that. And then another one I snagged, because again, it was like $5 or less. This was Super Comics number 113. This is by Dell from October of 1947. $5 for a comic from 1947. And Dick Tracy. I love the Dick Tracy strip, so I figured I'd grab that one. And this was really interesting. This is something that's very unusual, and it kind of reminds me of Soti, the Seduction of the Innocent, that Alan, the comic collector geek, always talks about on his channel. And this is a little pamphlet called Comics, Television, and Children. And this is from 1955. It's from Ave Maria Press. And it's basically a, that's in a comic bag and board. So you can see it's kind of tiny. But it basically is talking about the problems that affect children who are, reading comics and watching television and movies, and how you have to be aware of what's going on. And what's really interesting about this, there's not a whole lot about comics, but it's a little bit of, history, a historical item, I think, because it does deal with, the censorship of comics at the time period. And it talks about censorship, and it talks about the comics code. But what's really interesting when I read this was that it talks about parental responsibility. And that's what it is. I'm a parent, and that's what it comes down to, right? If you want to let your kids read certain things or participate in certain things or play certain games, right? You got to pay attention to what they're doing. And, it's a parental responsibility. So I like that, because that was a big part of this. It was like, hey, there are some things you have to worry about, but you got to know, you got to read what they're reading. So I thought that was really cool. That's from 1955. Here's an issue of T-Man from October of 1956. This is T-Man number 37, T standing for Treasury. So this guy here is Pete Trask. He's a Treasury agent. This is my favorite Golden Age series. I love it. I'm trying to get a full run together, just reading copies when I find them that are affordable. So I grabbed this one. Pete Trask is a Treasury agent, and basically he's jaunting around the world trying to take care of situations to look out for US interests. And there's a lot of anti-communism and anti-fascism stories in here. And they all have a title like this one. What does it say? Red Trial by Terror. So there's those things about Reds and fascism and communism. So I like the anti-communism stories, because I grew up, with the threat of the Soviet Union, served in the Navy. So these are some things that I really like. So that's another one that I've added to my collection. And then I grabbed a couple of issues of Don Winslow of the Navy that were really inexpensive. This is issue number 35. And I grabbed this one because it's got a great cover. I mean, come on, riding a torpedo. Look at this guy, right? And it was really inexpensive. It had a spine roll here that the back cover was over about 1/4 inch. You could see like the white of the back cover there. And I just grabbed it and pressed it like I pleat my pants, and it's good to go. So that's a great cover, Don Winslow of the Navy, number 35 by Fawcett. And then this one needs a cleaning, but another inexpensive one, number 53. And this one is really cool. It's very dirty again. Maybe it's from that same collection of that one I showed earlier, the Airace. So it's got that same kind of grime on it. So I'm going to have to do some cleaning on this one. But what's really cool in here, there's a page in here that a whole one page that has all of these flags and tells you what each one is. I used to know it when I was in the Navy. We had to learn it. One of these, there's a white with blue in the center. There's another one, blue with white in the center. One of them is whiskey. I remember that one. And this one here, I think, is hotel. And I don't remember the rest of them, but at one time I knew them. So that's Don Winslow, number 53. And then that was by Fawcett. And then Charlton took over Don Winslow of the Navy. And I think they had 4 issues of Don Winslow of the Navy. And then after that, it turned into Fighting Navy. And so I'm trying to put the Fighting Navy run together. And this is Fighting Navy number 119. I'm getting really close now. And this continued from Don Winslow. I'm not trying to get all the Don Winslows. I get them if I find them, but I am trying to put the Fighting Navy run together. And I got another issue checked off here. This one I have to press. It looks good, but right in this corner, from the front to the back, it was folded over. So it's got a big crease in there. It'll press right out and it'll be fine. All right, just a few more. Hang with me. This is Pioneer Picture Stories number 9 from December of 1943. Another one I grabbed just because it was like $5 or less. This is the last issue. It was a 9-issue series, and this was the only one that was for sale at that good price. But I thought it's a really cool cover. It's like this guy is like going through like, you know, a blizzard. You could imagine this is like the Arctic or Antarctic, right? And I do like these comic books that tell real life stories, and that's what this one is. This is a story about this explorer that I can't pronounce his name. Sounds like kind of like a Norwegian name or something like that. But I do like these stories, like real life stories, pioneer picture stories, heroic, that tell stories of real world things. And then this is the last issue, like I said, but issue number 6, check this out. This is the one. Look how cool that is. If I could find issue number 6, I would definitely pick that one up. It's got a great cover. Fightin' 5, number 30 from December of 1964. This is another run from Charlton that I've been trying to put together. And all of a sudden, Peacemaker, boom, Suicide Squad. Now that one issue that I don't have is very expensive, but the rest of them are nothing. I think maybe I paid $2 for this one or $1.80, something like that. So another issue down on my Fightin' 5. And then this comic, keep an eye out for this one, this Golden Age comic, Jet Fighter number 7 by Pines from March of 1953. This was like really inexpensive. It's got a chip out here, down here. If I remember correctly, the covers, it's all there, but it's detached. But the colors on here are just so striking. So keep an eye out for this. I mean, if you can find one of these in nice condition, high grade, this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful cover with all those awesome colors that are on there. I was really happy to get that. And then a shout out to Mike Smith, Night Tiger, who pointed me in the direction of this one. That's a train cover. Continuing with the thanks of the community, guys like Mike and other folks, Kevin Taylor, finding train covers that I didn't even know about. And this is Tiny Tot number 7. It's from the summer of 1947. And it's a early EC comic. And it's got a really great cover there. And it's got some tears. The cover's all there, but it's detached. But it's really a cool Golden Age train cover. And the last one, and there was no particular order, it's just a stack. This is Justice Traps the Guilty, number 67 from October of 1954. And these comics, these Justice Traps the Guilty, they're usually not that expensive, and they got some cool, some of them have some really cool covers like this one. Look at this guy. It's kind of gruesome, right? This guy is tied up and thrown into the water. You would imagine he'd have concrete shoes. But when you look closely, you see that it doesn't appear that way, right? And he's just thrown in the water. It looks like it's the ocean. There's like, you know, a wooden pier here. And, you know, this police officer's dived in to try to rescue him. But so you got this gruesome picture. But what I really like about this is how it's juxtaposed. Look at the bottom half of the fish and, you know, the plants, the sea plants, the kelp, and the colors. I mean, it looks like an aquarium, and it's just a killer cover because it's got like this situation going on, but then here in the foreground, like if you just focus in on that, it looks like you're looking in a beautiful aquarium. So I thought that was a really neat cover, and that's why I grabbed it. So that's my latest haul from my comic shop. I get these about once a month. I have another 2 stacks of them. I just didn't have time to, from previous months, I didn't have time to make any haul videos. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. And thank you for watching. And thanks for all the great comments that you post below. You know, I'm learning a lot from the community and watching other shows, and from the comments, finding some great comics that I didn't know existed. So I'm really having a great time sharing this with you. and having you share stuff with me too. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. I'm trying to just make these videos and then record them and have them. So when I have some free time to edit it, I could put it together and get it up for you guys. Get it posted for you guys. I'm gonna have to cut that out.